Hey guys, are you looking for a sportsbook that you can trust? Well, look no further than mybookie.ag, where you can get a 50% match on your initial deposit of up to $1,000 when you use promo code DFSArmy. As a bonus, when you use promo code DFSArmy, you also get a free month of DFS Army VIP and DFS Army Beat the Bookie membership. That's a $100 combined value. So we'll help you with your daily fantasy sports and we'll help you with your handicapping. Free when you sign up for mybookie.ag using promo code DFS Army. Hey guys, people always ask me what exactly we do in DFS Army. Basically, if you're someone that likes to play daily fantasy sports, you want to be able to pop in close to lock, get a breakdown of a slate, full set of projections, breaking news, and cheat sheets, player picks, and advice directly
NBA
from pro
DFS
players. The DFS Army is the place for you. We function as a team. We help each other out. We have coaching unlike any other service in the industry.
That's what you get.
And the proof is in the results. Check out our DFSArmy.com wall of wins to see for yourself the massive number of six-figure wins regular DFS Army average Joes have won in just the past year. If you're tired of redepositing all the time, you already like playing on Fanduel and Draftkings, but you want to take your game to the next level, it's time to sign up for DFS Army as a VIP
especially
member.
consecutive days.
Use promo code PODCAST to lock in 20% off the normal monthly rate. That's going to wind up at $39.99, the best deal in the industry. Promo code PODCAST, 20% off, DFSArmy.com, the best deal in the industry. We'll see you in the lobby.
And jump
in 2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, aided by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn Joe into DFS pros.
Man, nice little 7-game slate tonight. A lot of
yes, we should. We need to.
Bear, anything fun happen out in Cali? It is a balmy -6 degrees here in Oklahoma as the wind chill. So, even my Colorado blood says this is cold.
It's definitely cold. So I mean, it's not as cold as you are for sure, but it's chillier here.
What, 55?
A little bit lower, in the low 50s, high 40s.
I would take that in an instant. Although I should be counting my blessings because here in about probably by the end of the month we have the inaugural unofficial kickoff to what we in Oklahoma like to call storm season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when tornadoes and storms and hail and all this stuff starts to happen. And it always seems to happen right as NBA is locking.
Yeah, pretty much.
I have set NBA DFS lineups while tornado sirens are going off and my mother-in-law is screaming at me. So I think I've told that story a couple times. So, but anyways, we got a nice little 7-game slate today here. A lot of good games. And then a lot of interesting pivots today. So let's get to it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Let's start off at the point guard position. Trae Young is the top projected points getter of the day right now, currently. He was unceremoniously thrown out after a bad second tech. I fully believe he deserved the first one. I don't think he deserved the second one. I think they got a little jumpy on that.
I was really pissed off about that. And not, for me, it didn't really matter. I knew he was going to be 70% on the slate, so I barely even played him. So it's not even about that. It was a really, really bad call.
Yeah.
Basketball is a game of emotions. He didn't even, he literally put his hands on his hips like that. That's all he did. He stood there, put his hand on his hips, and stared after they were getting back and forth. So, I don't know. I think it was a blown call.
Dennis Schroeder got a tech yesterday for standing up to Joakim Noah with his hands behind his back.
Yeah, there was a lot of crap yesterday.
Like, dude, like these guys, like they gotta understand, like this is coming to, especially like games like with, if it's like the Atlanta Hawks and the Phoenix Suns, I understand having kind of a quick whistle. You don't want things to get out of hand when you should, but let the guys play. Let them show some emotion. That's what makes the NBA great. I'm not talking about, Abdul Herrera bat flipping on a ground out to shortstop. I'm talking about Trae Young being like looking at the ref with his hands on his hips going and giving him like that look that your wife gives you after you made a stupid comment when she's telling you about her day at work. Be like, really? And then you're going to get it. And knowing it's his second tech and he's getting tossed. Yeah. That was Bush League.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you there.
So Trae Young, he's the most expensive point guard. He's right now the highest projected point guard, not by much, but he is. I'm fully off of him, actually. As well as he's been doing, I know that you've got I'm pissed off because I got thrown out of my first NBA game type of thing coming. Miami's really, really good about slowing down the point guard position, the guards in general. And he's going to see a good dose of Justice Winslow, I think. Mm-hmm. Now, the Goran Dragic matchup, I'm not worried about. If Dragic was starting and getting starters minutes and playing the majority of the game at the 1, then, it might be a little bit different of a story. But for me, right now, with the way that the Miami Heat are playing the guards in the backcourt, I'm off. I'll let everybody else chase all this.
Yeah, I've got 0 myself, so I'm right there with you.
So it's just one of those things. Like, I love my boy and everything, but I just don't. If he was 7,200, I might take a couple shots. 82, maybe you could even talk me into. 92, 9,300 on DK. Yeah, see ya.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox against the New York Knicks. I have not looked to see if Frank Ntilikina is going to be back tonight yet. It does not look like he is going to be. He's got a sore groin. That piques my interest a little bit more in De'Aaron Fox, but I'm looking at a guy about $1,000 below that is probably going to be the chalkiest point guard of the night.
Oh yeah.
And I can't get off of him as much as I want to, but De'Aaron Fox is a nice little pay up to be contrarian pivot. And I think with the fact that he's right there kind of grossly in between Trae Young and Eric Bledsoe, I think he might go a little bit under-owned tonight.
Well, he will go under-owned. He's going to go hardly touched. And I've got him in a couple of my earlier lineups that I built for the same reason, to be contrarian. And I also have his opponent as well, a little bit, for the same reasoning, to be a little contrarian. But it's tough because the way I look at it right now, it's coming down to really 3-4 point guards that everyone's going to be jumping on. And so, I understand they're in good spots, but I will have 0 Trae. Now here's the thing. If Trae was back into the 8K range, it would be a different conversation. But he's priced up on all sites, which is the right thing to do. He's been playing out of his mind, so I get it. But at the same time, I don't, just picturing him, Winslow on him the entire night, you really need him to absolutely explode again in order to pay off that 9,200. So it's tough.
Yeah, and we've been fading point guards against Miami for a good chunk of the season outside of the elite guys. And this is going to be a good test for Trae. So I'm actually excited to watch this from a basketball standpoint. I want to see how much he's progressed on the offensive standpoint, and get a gauge on where he really is sitting at the end of his rookie year. Let's talk about Ricky Rubio here. Guys, Eric Bledsoe, he's going to be the chalkiest guy of the night. He's got the revenge factor going. He absolutely can't stand Phoenix. It's just I don't know what you really have to. The only thing that I guess you could say that might deter a little bit, if you want to try to drum up something, is he did miss the last game with a back injury, and he is kind of nursing that back a little bit. But I think you're kind of digging there a little bit because I think they were just giving him an excuse to kind of sit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things that you've got to, really, really dig in order to find something. So let's talk about Ricky Rubio going up against the Pelicans here, 7,200. I really do like him tonight. He's about the only other guy outside of Bledsoe that I really, really, really have a lot of interest in at the above 7K. Like I said, I'll have a little bit of De'Aaron Fox, but Ricky Rubio and Eric Bledsoe are going to be my highest exposed guys above 7K tonight.
I mean, I'm okay with the leverage play, in terms of, because I know his ownership will be low too, but I don't know that I can pay that much for Rubio.
Why did he only play 19 minutes against Milwaukee? I have not been able to watch a lot of basketball this weekend. So
he and Gobert both, I don't believe, played that much. But so I didn't watch the entire game either. But the issue I have with Rubio is exactly that. He's too volatile at this time right now. I don't know if they're, kind of backing off him or kind of gearing up for the playoffs. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure that I can play him.
Yeah, it's weird. He played 24 minutes against the Clippers, set out that Denver game, and played 19 against Milwaukee. Gobert only played 19 minutes as well.
Well, that one was because he was playing really poorly, and they decided to go with Favors, and Favors just absolutely dominated that game, and Gobert wasn't playing very well. He mentioned it after the game. He was like, I was playing poorly. Coach went to Favors. Favors was playing phenomenally well. He made the right decision, which is nice because when that's the sign of a good team, right? Mm-hmm. When a guy who's particularly, everyone's considering an all-star snub, myself included, who's that, defensive player of the year caliber type of center, gets pulled for the power forward, and the power forward does well, instead of complaining and crying and bitching about it, he's like, coach made the right decision and it worked out. Like that makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, absolutely it does. I can't, Gobert's always been one of those guys that, he's does what the bet. Now, make no mistake about it, they're a better team with Rudy Gobert on the court when he's playing up to his potential. But, he's human. They have nights off. So, man, I don't like point guard today.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's a pay down spot for me. I mean, obviously you mentioned Fox, you mentioned Bledsoe, but you've got some of the other guys here we'll talk about. But I don't see myself paying over 6K, or at least not too much over 6K.
Rondo against the Clippers?
I mean, it's intriguing. I think he'll probably have a lot of ownership as well, which is fine. I just want everybody to understand, last game, he didn't play a lot because Ayton was just destroying them, and they needed to go with McGee to body him. Nobody could guard him. And unfortunately, it was Bullock who took most of that hit in terms of minutes. And then, LeBron basically decided to play the point guard, and nobody else touched the ball, towards the end of that game. So this is going to be a very different game. The Clippers are a small team, even though they have Zubats, but he only plays about 18 to 20 minutes, and then it's Harrell, with Gallinari at the power forward, and Lou Williams and Patrick Beverly. So I can definitely see at least 30 minutes here from Rondo. And he's not going to have Beverly on him. So
No. Goran Dragic, maybe 28 minutes off the bench.
We'll see. He's questionable. We got to see if he plays. But if he does play, I don't hate the play. It makes me like Winslow a little bit less, but I don't hate it. Versus the Hawks.
No, Bev will not be on Rondo. I have to remind myself that there's a 10-second delay when these guys ask questions. I'm legit looking at guys like SGA and Bryn Forbes and Landry Shamet. Jalen Brunson's getting 28 minutes off the bench right now. These guys are guys that I'm legit thinking of playing tonight, and that just kind of shows you exactly how ugly the point guard position is outside of Eric Bledsoe and some of these. If you want to be different, guys, people are going to go fishing for a lot of this value down at the bottom. Pay up. Go De'Aaron Fox, Eric Bledsoe. Go with go with those two, and try to get different in other spots. But a lot of these guys a lot of people today are gonna try to figure out these value point guards. And
so I've got a little quote here from a player that I'm going to keep for our VIPs.
Good.
But this is my point guard. I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to this game for a while. I've got a bunch of family and friends coming out. To be able to play in front of them will be fun. We'll have 100 plus friends and family in the crowd. He's under 4K.
I think I know who you're talking about. It's scary.
Well,
but
yeah.
If it works, then you've got a leg up on 98.9% of the field.
Yes, you do.
Because I think the only people that are going to touch them are us.
And it looks like
yes.
Okafor's not playing, right? Okafor's doubtful now.
Yes.
And it looks like Anthony Davis is questionable.
Yes. There's a lot of I think you might have just given it away though too.
Not necessarily, because I don't think people know who the hell he is.
All right, let's move on to the shooting guard position here. Luka Doncic is the top guy of the day. Guys, remember, if you are a DFS Army VIP member and you are looking at the domination station or the sim model, the ADVP is going to show an 88.3. He is not their shooting guard. He is their point guard. If you go back and you look at the point guard position for the Dallas Mavericks and you look at the ADVP there, it is a 107.9. This is why we like Luka Doncic tonight.
Yep.
So,
indeed it is.
10K is a tougher pill to swallow. DK, he's only 9,100. He's actually cheaper than Trae Young. But I still don't mind playing 9,800 Luka Doncic on FanDuel. It's going to get me away from Donovan Mitchell. It's going to get me away from Jrue Holiday, from D'Angelo Russell. And I'm fine with that.
So you're playing Luka, you're saying?
Yes, I will have some Luka. I won't have a ton of him. He's not a core type of play, but I will have him. Mainly because I don't know if I can play LeBron tonight. So,
Can you take my head to heads, please? No, I mean, look, I think I also have some Luka in some tournaments, but obviously the price tag is hefty, but it's a game that Brooklyn needs to win. Brooklyn's lost here a few games in a row here, and they're going to come out and give them everything they've got. So it's going to be Luka versus D'Angelo Russell basically at that position. And I think Luka, has a height advantage, and it's interesting.
I mean, I just sit here and I look at the roster construction today, and as of right now, I'm not paying up at center. I'm not paying up a ton at point guard. I'm not paying up a ton at power forward. I can play LeBron or Giannis, and I can play Luka. There's not a ton of studs that are on the slate tonight. So
yeah.
DeMar DeRozan against Denver is probably going to see a lot of Gary Harris.
Yeah, he is. But then again, Gary Harris is also continuing to be limited in his minutes, so he won't see him the entire game.
But it's enough to limit the upside at 8,800, isn't it?
Probably. I mean, I could still see DeRozan go nuts, but so it doesn't stop me from playing DeMar. Particularly, I think this is going to be probably one of the better games of the night. The totals. It's the crazy thing here is Vegas has the Spurs favored.
Wouldn't you? The Denver Nuggets have been a horrible road team the back half of this year, and the Spurs have the best or the second best home record in the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. I still think it's going to be even closer than people might think. But the total is 230, which I like. Okay, so the Spurs are now favored by 1. That makes a little more sense. I think they were a little bit higher before. But, I mean, this is not a game that I think we should take lightly. This is a game that I want a little bit more of than the field, with the field running to Atlanta, Miami, maybe New Orleans, Utah, and some of this New York Sac and Lakers, Clippers. I like Denver, San Antonio.
The Warriors are going to sign Andrew Bogut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back to 2015. Yeah, I agree with you. I want pieces of this San Antonio-Denver game. I'm not sure exactly how much of the backcourts I want. But I do want pieces. I do like a lot of guys, and we'll talk about we'll talk about more of the pieces as we get into the other positions, because those are the spots that I really, really do like tonight. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this guy that's right below DeMar DeRozan, and this is why I won't have a ton of DeRozan tonight on FanDuel. It's Devin Booker against Milwaukee. Shooting guards against Milwaukee have been a thing all season long. Malcolm Brogdon is, for all the promise he showed as a rookie as a defender, it really has kind of backtracked.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I do a lot is I look at, I don't look at season long defensive stats. I don't find it very beneficial for daily fantasy. And so you take a look at the last couple of weeks. I mean, the Bucks are just barely under the Hawks, under the Heat, at the shooting guard position in terms of worst defense. So, I mean, there's a lot to love there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have, in the last 30 days, they are actually the 4th best. There's a lot of good shooting guard matchups today. Yep. They're the 4th, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're the 4th best matchup, on the slate tonight, as far as, shooting guards are concerned. I don't know, man. He's a guy that we know can take over a game. I don't know exactly how much I love it and trust it, but he's got the capabilities to go off for 55. And on a slate like tonight, where there's not a lot of guys, in my opinion, this is not a cash slate at all. I firmly don't believe you should be playing cash after the All-Star break anyways, but definitely don't play it tonight, because he's got too much upside in order for me to completely fade. But it's going to depend for me how much I'm going to have based on the ownership. If he's coming in at a low-owned tag today, as we get closer to lock, he's going to end up becoming part of my core.
I can see that.
Like I'm just going to try to leverage the field with Devin Booker at the position today.
I can definitely see that.
Let's talk about the nice little combination of Buddy Hield and Bogdan Bogdanovic. And yes, I did skip over your boy, and there's a reason. I will get back to him in just a moment.
Okay.
Buddy and Bog are very, very interesting in my opinion.
Yeah,
right?
they are. They really are.
I don't think Buddy's going to have a high ownership number. I think a lot of people are going to go straight to Bog. I think they're both firmly in play tonight. We've seen them both go off for 50. I don't know if I would put them both in the same lineup, but I think they're both viable. More than viable. I think they're both firmly in play.
Sure. Yeah, I don't disagree. The issue is going to be, it's typically a one or the other scenario. That's the first issue. Second issue is going to be, I don't know how close the game is going to be in Sac, and I know that Sacramento, again, they're in need to win mode, and they're insanely fast paced. I don't know if the Knicks keep up with them, so it's just something I gotta look into, but not something I trust.
I think in some of my tournament lineups, I'm going to end up ping-ponging or bringing it back. Not ping-pong, but bringing it back with a guy like Damian Dotson. Hoping that, since he's going to see a lot of that Buddy Hield defense, he can bring it back. I don't know. I've got to find somebody to bring it back. Maybe an Alonzo Trier as a drop.
Yeah.
Maybe a Kevin Knox if he's in the rotation. I don't. The Knicks rotation, for me, it would be one of those two. I think probably a Dotson or a Trier. Just because either one of them can get hot and go bananas. Or maybe even a Dennis Smith Jr. But the way that De'Aaron Fox has been playing defense this season, I'm not sure if that's a smart one. I think it'd have to be probably one of those two, Dotson or Trier.
But they've been actually pretty bad here, or I should say he's been pretty bad defensively just recently. The season he's definitely improved, yes.
Who, Fox?
Yeah. Yeah, and then the Kings at point guard in general. As of 5 games, not anything longer than that. So just something to keep your eye on.
Like the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's talk about Lou. Sweet Lou.
Yeah, so far out of all my lineups, he's in every one.
He locked.
Yeah,
it's cold stun a lock.
It's first of all, he's 7,400, so I like the price on him. Second of all, he's absolutely torched the Lakers this year. He's put up over 40 in every game so far. This game is going to it's a must win for both teams for playoff reasons. Lakers are looking at this as if they lose tonight, the season's over. Even though I already think it is, but
I'd say most people would think that the Lakers season is probably over. I actually saw talk, and I never thought in my lifetime I would ever see this. I actually saw talk on whether or not it was time to shut LeBron down for this.
Yeah, and I think if they lose this game tonight, you'll see that. But this game is far and away. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think that it's just based on if they lose tonight? Because if they lose tonight and San Antonio and Sacramento both lose to where there's no ground lost,
right,
it might extend it a little bit, I think.
Right.
You would be you would be able to read that a little bit better, but I wanted to ask that.
Sacramento's not losing to the Kings. To the Knicks.
I don't know. The Knicks have been playing a lot better.
Yeah, but the Kings are a good team.
Yeah, but the Kings haven't been playing well.
The Kings aren't losing to the Knicks. Playing well or not, they're not gonna lose to the Knicks. That's the first thing. Second of all,
I didn't think they'd lose to the Timberwolves either.
Timberwolves are better than the Knicks, man.
I get that.
And the Timberwolves have a guy that their best player is where the Kings are the weakest. They had Cat. And Cat went off for like 1,000 points.
Yeah.
And I played him, made good money that night. But
that scares me going into.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out tomorrow. But for now, I mean, I don't know. As far as should they shut him down, if they start to lose outright, they can get a top 10 pick, right? Which they can then throw into some other trade talks, which are going to happen, like it or not. So anyways, nor here nor there. Lou Williams is a phenomenal play. He's, like I say, he's in every one of my lineups. I don't see how I don't play him. This is, like I mentioned, a game that both teams need to win. Both teams are trying to stay into the Clippers are trying to get into the playoffs, or the Lakers. There's a lot of talk going on between these two teams. It's actually coming from the Clippers more than anyone else. But, between Patrick Beverley and Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams, you're going to see a lot of blood. And I don't mean that even facetiously. I mean, you're literally going to see blood. So this is the kind of game I want to play Lou. I want to play LeBron. I want to play Beverly. I want to play Montrez. Like this is the game that I'm going to be targeting the heaviest. I don't see either team blowing the other out. So you're going to get 4 quarters of everyone. Highest total on the slate, not by much, but up there. And we're getting Lance Stevenson's ruled out. That's interesting. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's all Lou.
Okay. So the question is, are you going to pair him with the Brogdon? You going to pair him with Middleton? Looks like Karis LeVert starting to get some minutes back. The question with LeVert it doesn't look like his shot is falling consistently yet.
Right.
The breakout game is coming, but FanDuel has been very, very smart on not to drop his price because of this. They understand it. They know it. But he's 5,300 on DraftKings, so I have to ask the question: is LeVert playable at that price?
Not for me.
Okay.
Just because he's too volatile, man. I mean, like if you're playing 100 lineups, sure, throw him in a few. But if you're playing 5 or whatever, 10 or whatever, probably not.
Left second toe sprain for Lance Stevenson.
Oh boy.
Okay, then. That works. Dion Waiters, 5,300.
I mean, I've been looking at him all day. I've been looking at the matchup, which is phenomenal.
Scary.
Yeah, it's hard for me to do, though, man. It's hard for me to do because he's just so he's like 35 or like 10. He's not giving you anything in between.
I need Dragic out to play him.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I'm not sold.
Well, I'm not sold, but that's what I would need for him to become playable for me. Is I need Dragic out because that backcourt right now is very, very crowded. It's almost as crowded as the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
So, Kent Bazemore, Kevin Huerter.
So Huerter.
Neither one of us can say that name. We know how to pronounce it, we just can't do it.
He's kind of an anomaly for me. He's had a couple of really blow up games, but he hasn't been getting the minutes at all. He hasn't been hitting his shots much. Huerter.
Okay.
Huerter, whatever. It's a little bit of a concern for me. I looked at him recently. He's getting 20 minutes, 21 minutes. Then he'll play 30, and it's kind of like it's a little too volatile for me right now with him. So I can't really play him. Bazemore is going to get 27 ish. You know, like you can almost, especially with Notori and Prince, he starts at the 3 instead of Prince. So you're going. I mean, you'll see. I don't know why they don't play him more, but they don't. And with Winslow probably on Trae Young most of the night, I might see Bazemore getting off a little bit more potentially. He has the potential to do that. The Heat as of late have been giving up a lot of points, which is not very Heat-like, but they have. And most of where they're giving up the points has been at the shooting guard position. Because their injuries, that's pretty much become like a revolving door, that shooting guard spot for them. It was Magruder, and then it was before they traded him, it was Wayne Ellington, and it's just kind of going back and forth. So I mean, they're up there with, you know, Milwaukee, Phoenix, Sacramento, and then Miami. You know, over the shooting guard over the last 2 weeks. So just something to look for. That means Huerter is going to start in the shooting guard, but just need him to really be locked into the 30 minutes, and I don't know that he is.
Did they play yesterday? They played yesterday, right?
I believe so.
Here's my locking for Shooter. As a starter, he's shooting 3 percentage points better as far as his field goal percentage, which is a little weird because of the fact that, like, you would think that wouldn't really have, like, the only person I've really seen drastic starter reserve splits on is guys like Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford, who have kind of made their name coming off the bench. He's shooting 72% from the line as a starter rather than 67%. But here's where it's funny. On no rest, like on the back end of a back-to-back, he's shooting almost 47% from the field.
Oh, baby. Interesting.
Now, the problem with that is at home, he's not shooting as well as he is on the road. But, like, the less rest he has, and this shows you he's kind of like a rhythm guy. The less rest he has, the better he shoots.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my inclination on why I kind of like him. It doesn't hurt that he's 4,200 either. So, Patty C, we would need somebody to be out in that starting unit. And
they're not.
And they're not going to be.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to go back to about 19 minutes. For $100 less, you can play Alonzo Trier. For $500 less, you can play Marco Bellinelli. Let's talk about Malik Beasley, because I've got some questions about him.
Okay.
Beasley is a guy that can absolutely just light it up from the field. I've watched him do it. I've watched him do it in person.
Yeah.
And he can do it in multiple different ways. We have talked about needing more than, just some of these other guys that we're going to talk about here in just a moment from this game, or DeMar DeRozan. I've got a little bit of interest in Beasley tonight. And I don't know why. He's going to get right around 22 to 24 minutes. If he gets hot and the game's close down the stretch, he could end up getting a couple minutes more. Depending on how much they want to limit Gary Harris. He's the only guy off the bench for the Nuggets that I have interest in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of him, it's a little bit of Plumlee, but it's. I don't hate it at 4K. If you're playing Fanduel, he's certainly a drop score candidate in case all those things that you mentioned don't work out perfectly. He can be a drop scorer. But this game's going to go down to the wire. So I don't hate it. He's still going to see the court. He's still going to play in the mid-20s in terms of minutes. And like you said, he can certainly get hot, and guards against the Spurs tend to get hot. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, guards against a lot of people in the Western Conference are tending to get hot right now.
Indeed.
Looking at you, Derek White. Anyways, let's move on to the small forward position today. Guys at the 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo against Phoenix. Best matchup on the board at the position.
By far.
Actually, not too much or ahead of Atlanta, but we know that this is within the last 30 days. To Giannis or not to Giannis?
I mean, he's 200 less than LeBron on FanDuel. That's obviously enticing. It's just going to boil down to if you think the game is going to stay reasonably close. I, for one, happen to think that it is. So, I mean, they've got an advantage in Booker. They've got an advantage in Ayton. I mean, certainly Brook Lopez is no slouch, but it's been, somewhere where we've always been able to kind of expose the Bucks. They've improved, but they're not top notch still. I think the game stays semi-close, and if the game stays semi-close and you get 4 quarters of Giannis, it's hard to pass on that, particularly with all the ownership going over to LeBron, which it will. So I don't mind that pivot in tournaments at all, but for safety, I'd rather play LeBron.
Yeah, I think if you're going to play Giannis, you have to pair him with at least Booker.
Oh yeah.
Because absolutely. In order to get the 65 out of Giannis, you're going to need 45 to 55 out of Booker. Because otherwise, this game isn't going to stay close. And make no mistake about it, I think we both think that it's going to, but that's just one of those things that you have to take into consideration when building your rosters. So, Tiger Woods is withdrawn from the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
Yeah, I was just reading his tweet about that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to a neck strain that I've had for a few weeks, I'm forced to withdraw. Received treatment, but it's not improved enough to play. My lower back is fine. I have no long-term concerns, and I have to be ready for the Players.
Well, I hope that you get ready for the Players because that's your last tune-up before the Masters.
Yeah.
One of the 4 times a year I play golf DFS. Actually, it might be the only time of year I play PGA DFS.
I was going to say, I didn't know you played the PGA. I like PGA. It's actually fun.
I don't mind it. It takes so much for me to get I can't just attack it from a member standpoint and read a couple articles throughout the week and do I got to dig in, and it sucks because it takes time, and I used to play it all the time, and I can't do it anymore. Yeah. So not consistently.
Understood.
All right, let's talk about these guys over at okay. So Brandon Ingram's $8K on FanDuel.
Pricey.
Yeah, that's a little pricey for me. I think.
Me too.
I think for me, I'd much rather play the 6,600 on DraftKings. But
sure. Here's the thing, man. So out of my 10 lineups, whatever tonight, I maybe have 1 or 2 Ingram, and that doesn't have LeBron in them. I've got a couple of them with both. The one very interesting thing that I saw last Lakers game, I think it was versus Phoenix down the stretch. It was mid-game. LeBron went over to Brandon, looked at him, and said, "It's you and me." So, we're gonna be the guys here. Did we just drop?
Nope, we're good.
Okay. Looks like my screen just put up an advertisement in the middle of our session here, but yeah, he's too pricey. I think you've got a lot of guys here that at the small forward position that I have a lot of interest in for much less. You've got Joe Ingles, who's been on fire, who's going up against, New Orleans. You've got, I lost my page here. You've got Will Barton against the Spurs. There's just a lot to like. You mentioned Gary Harris. We're going to get a decent run from DeAndre Bembry. You got Josh Richardson. You've got Winslow. There's a lot of other players here that I think can match that. Now, certainly, if you're looking at game stacking, okay, I get that. That's fine. You want a game stack, and put him in the game, fine. But outside of that, as an individual play, I just think he's too expensive now.
Yeah. At least on FanDuel for me, it's he's too expensive. So, there's something going on with the live stream.
Yeah,
I have no idea what it. Maybe it's this -6 degree weather. But anyways, you'll get to catch the rest of it on iTunes. So we'll just keep going, and if it pops back in, then it pops back in.
Yeah.
Justice Winslow, Josh Richardson, Danilo Gallinari, Joe Ingles, Will Barton, Rudy Gay, Nikola Mirotic, even Jay Crowder. Like, these are all guys that I like. And I'll be playing over Brandon Ingram and even Kelly Oubre for that matter.
Oh yeah.
So those are the guys that I want in my lineups. This is the deepest position of the day, and I will have a lot of different combinations as we try to figure out exactly what's going on with the freaking stream.
Well, let's continue for the folks that are listening. And then we'll figure it out.
Yeah. One of these days, we won't have technical difficulties or volume issues.
Yeah.
So Rudy, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so Rudy Gay's getting about 25, 26 minutes off the bench. He seems to kind of embraced that bench role, that 6-man role.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like. I like it. Like, I really, really do.
I like it, but not at 5,900. I don't. I don't mind, once his price starts to drop, which inevitably it will. But yeah,
I don't mind it. I kind of see it more like a Jeremy Lamb type of situation. He's going to get a lot of that usage with the second unit. He's going to get a lot of those shots with the second unit, and then he's going to close probably. More than likely. That's what he's been doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Will Barton?
I like it. I think, are we back? Yeah, looks like we're back.
Yeah, it looks like we're back.
Cool. AD participated in shoot around. Awesome.
Great. To play 20 minutes tonight.
Yeah. And they finally jacked up Diallo's price enough.
That was fun.
But, I like Barton. I think he's realizing that the team needs him to be more aggressive on offense than he has been. You saw that 2 games ago, he was like, screw it, I'm going nuts. And he did. I like it. He's up there at 6K, 6K for, he's 6K? Yeah, 6K for 32 minutes in, a game that's going to be relatively fast paced, at a 230 over or total over under, 1 point game is what they're being projected for right now. It's hard not to like it. Obviously, the Nuggets have a lot of talent. They've got Jokic, they've got Murray, they've got Harris, they've got Millsap. You mentioned Beasley. I mean, they got a lot of talent off the bench that's coming in terms of wings with Beasley and Isaiah Thomas and Torrey Craig. And I mean, there's a lot of depth there. That's the only hesitation I have. But outside of that, I mean, it's hard not to love Barton.
Yeah, I mean, these Denver guys for the rest of the season are going to all kind of be GPP plays. Because they've got a lot of different ways that you can, or they can come at you. So
right now, if I can find the 500 to go up to Winslow, I'd do that over Barton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
assuming Dragic is out.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not a lot that I like down here at the bottom. Maybe a DeMarre Carroll is a drop candidate.
Yeah.
Maybe a Davis Bertans, maybe.
Those are all maybes.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot below the Jay Crowder. Maybe if you want to try to catch lightning in a bottle with Joe Harris or Gary Harris. Kendrick Williams is a little bit overpriced, in my opinion. I don't know.
Underperforming.
Yeah, and underperforming.
I mean, I don't. So now that we know all these guys are out for Atlanta, we still. I don't hate Bembry at all. I mean, you're going to get close to 30. He's not going to play a full 30, but at 4,600, we've got him here at 27 minutes. I don't hate that. That's not the end of the world.
I think if Alex Len is out, then yes.
I don't see how he would be.
Well, he's a game time decision now.
Oh, I thought already was probable. But I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. But I don't hate it. That's about as low as I'm going here on small forwards.
Cool. All right, let's talk about power forwards because this is an ugly position today, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't love anybody. I could even say I probably don't like a lot. Kyle Kuzma feels overpriced. Julius Randle feels overpriced. Maybe some LaMarcus Aldridge. Well, not maybe, but I will have some LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, I was going to say that's where you can pay up, and
I'll have some Paul Millsap too. I
like Paul Millsap too. I'm going to look at him. Now that he's not 8,600, I think so. As you know, because you and I have been talking about it pretty much all morning, I'm really on the fence with how much I want to play Montrezl Harrell. I've been going back and forth, and the reality of it is, a game like this, he should destroy the Lakers. I mean, up-tempo game. Lakers play Kuzma at the 5 now. They don't really have any bigs. He should be able to get 25 and 20. I mean, should is the operative word there. For whatever reason, he hasn't. And so he hasn't broken, 32, whatever it is, against his team. Now, I do want to warn folks, a lot of those games were blowouts early on. So, he didn't get enough run because they were up by a lot. So if this game keeps the intensity, which I expect it to keep, then, I'll have a little more interest. He's priced up. What is he, 72?
Yeah.
7,600? 7,200? So, I mean, it's not the end of the world there, but I don't know, man. Ever since the morning, I got to play Lou and Trez. Like, it's just kind of screaming at me.
Well, I'll let it scream at you. I'll have a little bit. It won't be a ton. Just go ahead and unclick Anthony Davis.
Good. Good.
I didn't even play him that night. I said I had interest in him. Like, I talked myself off of him later on. I mean, Kelly Olynyk's 5,600. Derek Favors is now 7K. I much prefer Jay Crowder over Derek Favors tonight.
Same here.
Harry Giles is 4,900. Like, and guys, please, I'm begging you, don't fall into the Noah Vonleh trap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a trap, but particularly that they still kept him so cheap, which they were supposed to. I don't know. I've got a little bit of intrigue on Fanduel because you can play him as a drop, but outside of that, I don't really like much else, man. So, yeah, I would definitely stay away.
I would almost prefer to play Maxi Kleber.
Okay.
I mean, he's cheaper. If he's just going to be a drop, he's cheaper. He's projected the same amount of minutes.
What's crazy is I would rather pay a little bit higher and play Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so
Dirk is going to find his way into a number of my lineups tonight as a drop. But I'm just not. I'm not falling for Noah Vonleh.
Yeah.
Maybe play a little bit of Rashawn Holmes. I don't know. It's just this position is disgusting. Outside of the guys that we mentioned up at the top, and I'm just not going to deal with it because I don't have to. Exactly.
So, now here's a play that is going to make its way into a boatload of my lineups as well. One of the things we talk about on this pod a lot over the last 2 years since I've been on him is we use the term cheat code. Today's slate, there's 2 cheat codes. The first one is Winslow, who is listed as a small forward but is the point guard. The second one here is Dwight Powell. Dwight Powell is listed at power forward, but he's the center.
Yep.
Centers versus Brooklyn. 6,300 on FanDuel, 32 minutes versus Brooklyn. I don't see how you don't play the crap out of Dwight Powell.
Yeah. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not playing, like, those are my 4 guys that I want. I want Millsap, I want Powell, I want LMA, and then I want Harrell. Those are the guys that I'm gonna be building a lot of my lineups around. So, all right, let's talk about centers here. In Luce's disgust and disdain, we're gonna talk about more than just one. Your one, if you have to talk about it, is Alex Len. He is probable, even though he's a game time decision. We're going to get a million questions about that because he is probable. With everybody else out, he's going to play close to 30 minutes. Last 2 games against Miami, the ghost of James Johnson is not going to come out and body Alex Len. And
no.
I don't see anybody really like stopping him.
I mean, I kind of have to agree with Luce. You just play Len at center, and not much else to look at there. I mean, because you're playing a guy who's damn near mid-price, and then you can play another drop, or even 2 more
drops.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, yeah, I'm not playing around with that too much. That's what I'm doing.
If you do feel like you want to get a little bit creative, in case he gets into foul trouble or what else or whatever, then I do have some interest in Willie Cauley-Stein, and maybe some Jakob Poeltl.
Yep, both. Agreed.
But I'm not. If you want to really like, depending on what type of roster construction you're really trying to accomplish today, at least on FanDuel, you could play some Nikola Jokic. I'm not playing Rudy Gobert at 10K. I'm sorry, it's just
even though I think he's gonna come out like a maniac, but he's got to. Yeah, I mean, it's too tough to pay that.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton, no thank you. Hassan Whiteside, bleh. I'm not playing a bunch of these guys. Not that I think they're overpriced. I just don't see the need to. Like, if you really, really, really want to get creative, maybe you go to a Dwayne Dedmon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
there's just certain things that you just shouldn't mess with. And Alex Len at this moment is one thing I'm not messing with.
Hard to disagree.
Yep. All right. You got anything else?
Yeah, I might disagree with you a little bit on the Ayton take, though. I mean, I don't hate the Ayton play. One of the things I mentioned before was, you know, if you're going to go out there and you're going to play Giannis, then you kind of, for me, I'm going to bring it back with Booker and Ayton. But in that scenario, right? Like outside of that, like they just play Len and shut up. But I have a lineup with Mitchell Robinson in it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just send me that money right now.
I have one. But I mean, you know, the reality is I think Sack blows the crap out of him and I just you know, everybody who's on the court's going to sit and they're going to let Mitchell Robinson run for 35 minutes and you know, he's going to go up against Harry Giles and he should be able to put up a 55. That's kind of what's going on in my head as far as that play goes. But you know, again, it's only 1 out of, you know, 20 or whatever. So it's not like I don't want to go 100% Len because, you know, that's always scary. So I do want to play 1 or 2 other centers here and there, but
Willie Collins fine. Just
yeah, I've got some of him too. I do. I got some of him too.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. Make sure that you check out everything that we have to offer inside the DFS Army. All of our chat channels are hopping with NBA news. We've got PGA. We've got NASCAR that crushed again this weekend. MLB is coming up, and we do crush there as well. So got a lot of good things for you. If you're not a member, grab a member, become a member, and enjoy. So for myself, for Bear, for the DFS Army, we gone. Out.